We are live. Welcome back. Thought I was muted, but I wasn't. Welcome back. It's what happens when you're a producer. Can't join the show. You got to do it yourself. But nevertheless, we're here. We're live. We're ready to go. LSU football spring update. Yes. LSU dominating, at least offensively. This past Saturday, we will talk about that. Who showed up, who showed out, what could we maybe worry about a little bit from LSU. We'll talk about a lot of that to start off. We'll talk about that too with Carter the Power Bryant, as he will be joining us like he pretty much does on every Monday during the spring. We recap what we saw. We break it everything down. Some guys making some headway, some guys that maybe we shouldn't or not really shouldn't. How do I want to say? Maybe just guys that we haven't been talking about really at all. Guys like Trey Bradford having a big day Saturday, Amari Goodwin, as Corey Kiner, the former LSU running back, going into the transfer portal and then committing to Cincinnati. Do you smell tampering? Because if you smell the tampering done from the Cincinnati Bearcats, I sure as hell am smelling what the Rock is cooking. Do you? I sure as hell do. But Corey Kiner, just after 1 year, has left and already committed to Cincinnati. So good for him. Good for him. Can't hate the kid. A lot of times people say commit to the school, not the coach. But Corey Kiner, we'll talk about that. How I just don't think that he was a fit, really, for what Brian Kelly was trying to do this year as well. So, LSU gets swept this weekend by Arkansas. We're going to, if we haven't already done so, going to have to shift our expectations for what this team could do. Can this team just get to a regional? I think at this point, I think that they can. I think getting to a super regional is where they'll be. That should be where we should expect them to be. It's not a slight at them, but this team right now is just not playing good. I mean, they sweep Mississippi State. They look good. They don't commit errors in the field. And then this weekend, they can't buy it out at times. One inning taking 45 minutes. I will do a Rafino's Rants on that. As umpires, referees, hell, whoever the judge is in tennis, whoever the judge is in badminton, completely screwing the game over as Braden Jobert is called out because he's not in the box quick enough. Like, runners on first and second, 2 outs, LSU's down by 1, and you're going to call the guy out at home plate because you got to start your stopwatch. So many of the older generation blames millennials for their issues. Like, bro, Mr. Stopwatch, chill out, bro. The Cougar at the local Texas Roadhouse is going to be there when you get off. What's the game going to cost? Instead of 3 hours and 25 minutes, is it going to be 3 hours and 20 minutes? Like, who can, to call a batter out for not getting in the box fast enough this weekend and Braden Jobert is not only bullshit, but why people start tuning out. We blame kids like Corey Kiner for going to the transfer portal, but nobody wants to freak out at the middle-aged man who's the Cougar that he's going after at the Texas Roadhouse. Nobody wants to freak out on that salt and pepper hair dude. I'm not going to say it, man. We're only at Monday. But Rafino's Rants around the corner, and the Pelicans lose game 1. They did. So, I want to say that I've never seen a mountain lion, but I've been choked by a couple cougars in my life. But nevertheless, Nevertheless, let's get to a couple comments before we get started. Our good friend Craig Schilling says, well, wait, those who want the game to speed up call for this rule to be put in place. You're Craig's so right. But I mean, I don't understand it. Like, what does it matter? You know what? The extra 5 minutes, I can crack me open a very cold soda that might say beer on the side of that sucker and drink another one before I got to walk inside. I just don't get it, man. Like, I really, really don't. Oh, Danny Girl says the poor Mountain Lionesses is getting it tonight. Yeah. I mean, as Father Abear says, the Rudy Poo of the week is the third base umpire. Absolutely, it is. I'm going to say this. There's going to be probably something that happens this season that will make me forget about what happened this weekend. But he's got to be the Rudy Poo of the year for LSU baseball. That third base umpire. You can't call the batter out at the box. And that situation at that point of the game when LSU is battling for their ever-living lives, bro. Like battling for their ever-living lives. And we wonder why people tune out. It's for stupid crap like that. Boo that man. Absolutely boo that man. The Golden Boot Pod, who will be on later tonight, I forget what time they said. I think maybe 9 o'clock. But they said that's Mountain Lionesses, not Cougars, Blake. We'll see. But look, just because he can't find old girl at the Texas Roadhouse, man. I mean, what you want me to do about it? There's nothing I can do about it, bro. I mean, what you want to buy her Shirley Temple or I mean, I don't know what you buy girls at bars these days. Maybe a White Claw, like maybe just buy her a White Claw, pineapple flavored White Claw. I don't know what gets what happens. The Gold Boot Putt says 8:15. Craig Schilling says correct point. 5 minutes isn't going to kill anyone. No, it's not. It legitimately isn't. So we got a lot to talk about. We do have a lot to talk about. But we do have to pay some bills around this thing before we get started. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share. If you're on Facebook, everybody on Facebook, we're literally like 25 followers away. 25 followers away from 10,000. I need 25 people to go over to Facebook, like and follow Are You Serious Sports Network for us to get to 10,000 followers. Is that too much to ask? I think not. So we're very close. Everybody hit the like button and share if you're on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, do us a favor by hitting the like and subscribe button there as well. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. Share to all your social media platforms. If you're listening to us on the audio podcast platform, we are going to have a live audio. If you just want to listen to audio, we're working on that. Some people say, look, I can't watch Facebook. I can't watch YouTube or Twitter or whatever might have you. We're going to try to do very soon, get a live audio so where you can just put your phone down and listen. That's our current goals. We might have that news by beginning of football season. So just be on the lookout for that. But we'll let you know all that. So hit the like button, hit the share. Everybody in Facebook, hit the like button right now. Hit the share button. Carter the Power Brian in 8 minutes or so, or no, he's at 7:30. So we'll get to Carter the Power at 7:30. So let's pay some bills around this thing, and then let's get started. None better than our good friends over at Bet Online and Manscaped. Let me talk about my good friends over at Bet Online for just a quick second. Look, they're continue to be the number one source in all of your betting needs and sports info. Find all of the latest sports developments, including updated odds, NBA playoffs, fights, even next season's futures. And don't forget about Major League Baseball. That is back as well. Who are you picking to win the World Series? BetOnline has you continued or has that source for you, as they are continued source for all sporting wagers needs, including the live betting updates and your favorite Vegas casino poker games. Use the promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus. Again, that's betonline.ag, betonline.ag. All right, let's take a quick break. LSU spring update. I'll let you know what everything that happened, some things that stood out to me in the spring scrimmage Saturday. You might be a little bit surprised about what I'm about to say. Maybe not. Shocker, who knows? But stay tuned. Hit the like button, hit the share. Returning right after this break from our good friends over at Manscaped. With the first pick in the NFL draft, Ball Saxonville has decided to pick Manscaped to stock up their Manscaped. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming have sponsored us and AYS to make sure that you do not get booed out of the bedroom, just like NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. Support us by heading over to manscaped.com. That's manscaped.com, and use the exclusive code AYS at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. Again, that's manscaped.com. Use that promo code AYS at checkout for 20% off plus that free shipping. All right. I know. Y'all love the new Manscaped commercial. Ball Saxonville has chosen Manscaped with the number one pick. Shout out to our good friends over at Manscaped. I know. Y'all love it. Roger Dugas says, no, not Ball Saxonville. Yeah. Michael Porter says, that man said Ball Saxonville. I knew that was going to hit, bro. I knew that was going to hit. I knew it was coming. But our Manscaped commercial is pretty legit, says Chad. I think it is as well. All right, let's get started. Everybody do us a favor and hit the like and share. Let's get this thing started, y'all. All right. If you missed it, there was a lot to update about LSU's spring practice this Saturday. What a lot of people saw was the long pass from Miles Brennan to Jeray Jenkins, where I do believe that Miles has looked a little bit better maybe than I expected. He's doing some good things when it comes to throwing the ball deep. I will say, though, and I'll continue to say this over and over and over and over and over again, don't let one play where the DB falls down and the safety and the corner at the moment is coming from safety over the corner and trips and falls, and you have man-to-man coverage on a post route that goes for a touchdown. Beautiful throw by Miles. Beautiful catch by Jeray. No one's taking that away from him. However, be careful with the narratives that are being pushed. Because I'm going to continue to say this, and the game Saturday is not going to necessarily sway me either which way. Now, Mike, for the fan base, but the spring game is not going to sway me either which way. You have, and some are trying to push a three-man race. Guys, at the quarterback position, you have a two-man race. What you don't see is Kyron Lacey catching a pass over the middle from Jaden Daniels that goes for 60. I think it's very healthy for both of those guys to be battling in Jaden Daniels and Miles Brennan. I will say where Miles brings you more of an ability to throw the ball down the field and help in the passing game. The complete opposite could be said for Jaden Daniels in the running department. Jaden Daniels scrambling outside the pocket, hitting Malik Neighbors on the sideline. He has a different availability with his legs that Miles does not contain. It's going to come down to what does Mike Denbrock and what does Brian Kelly want? Ultimately, do they want a guy that could sit in the pocket that could try to piece you apart, or do they want a guy that can move a little bit and run the offense that Mike Denbrock's trying to accomplish and run? Now, I'm going to tell you, sometimes opinions aren't necessarily opinions when other facts are telling you something different. Let me explain. Now, if you missed it, we had some breaking news early this morning about our running back, Corey Kiner. Corey Kiner goes into the portal. Now, I see Gregory already in here saying that I sound like a hater. Greg, what have I said that's a hater? Okay, all I'm saying is, and we'll tell you right now, is it would seem as if LSU wants to spread the ball out and get things and move things at a very fast pace. What part of running up to the line of scrimmage in a no-huddle type of situation, having the plays called in, guys like Trey Bradford being RB1 when John Emery's out, and Jane Daniels taking first-team reps, do we not see what LSU's trying to do? Facts don't care about your feelings. They really don't. And you have had guys like Trey Bradford who has stepped up this camp. When you have speed and you have guys that can catch the ball out of the backfield, guys with a lot of speed, it would seem as if LSU, with Brian Kelly, even though he was labeled as the 12 personnel power eye, let's run it right up the middle, doesn't seem like that's what he's doing right now, right, with Brian Kelly. So, Gregory, you can say I'm a hater, but hater to whom? I'm just telling you my opinion of what is actually going on. Brian Kelly and Mike Denbrock recruiting a guy that is in high school right now that is more of a mobile dual threat quarterback. They wanted Walker Howard at Notre Dame. What part of Brian Kelly wanting a dual threat guy do we not understand here? That does not mean that Miles Brennan is not going to be the starter. Now, I know a lot of people are talking about Garrett Nussmeier. I thought Garrett had a good day. Garrett has done some things in refining his footwork that I think that could help him along the way. He's not in the two as of right now. I understand the narratives. Narratives feed subscriptions. Narratives feed interest. Well, wait, wait a minute. What's Garrett Nussmeier doing? I understand it, but stop it. Let's stop let's go full back in the 90s and go Coolio on that sucker and stop. Stop. Because I don't know what everybody else is seeing that I'm not. No clue. I just hit 10,000 steps. My Fitbit just told me. I don't know how while I'm sitting down. But nevertheless, maybe it's because I'm moving my hands like, who knows? Who knows? But I thought the offense had the better day, especially up front. Guys, when you see the footage, so I might come out here and I might talk about the offensive line had the better day, and you're like, oh, well, Blake's just pushing the narrative. He's an offensive line homer. Really? Well, we'll have Carter the Power on in 9 minutes, and he's going to tell you the same exact thing. The offensive line and some of the tight ends, shout out to Nick Stores, had a big day. Amari Goodwin busting off a long run. You have Trey Bradford busting out some 15 to 20-yard runs. That's what you want to see. Now, on the flip side, people will be worried about the defense. People will be worried about what these guys are doing. But if you missed the Friday show with Mike Jones Jr., who? Oh, wrong one. See, that's what happens when you don't have a producer. Zach, way to go. If you missed the show Friday with me and Mike Jones, I told you this, and I told Mike Jones this. LSU in practice this week is going to find a way to get their quarterbacks out of the pocket, a.k.a. Jane Daniels, a.k.a. Miles Brennan, and they're going to try to light you up by doing it. Newsflash, it happened. Timestamps don't lie. So I'm not really worried about the defense when they're being thrown something that they haven't seen from this offense. Not worried at all. Let me tell you this. Here are some good things that I like. I like the push from the offensive line. I really like Cam Wire at right tackle. I got to eat crow a little bit. I think Will Campbell's doing things that I didn't expect him to come in and do. Fantastic. I'll eat that crow. Good on him. Great for LSU. I thought LSU's looked a lot better in the interior. Putting Miles Frazier, Charles Turner had a pretty decent day, and Traymon Shorts at left guard. They've looked decent in the interior. That's without, too, by the way, Marlon Martinez, who was your best offensive lineman last year, Garrett Dellinger, who they want to be the starting center, and Anthony Bradford, who, quite honestly, I could make the argument was your best guard a season ago outside of Ed Ingram. Maybe with Ed Ingram in that discussion, I can make that argument. They have depth on the offensive line. Marcus Dumerville, when Cam Wire came out, looked really good. Now, I want to say this. There was a picture flying around that from Marcus Dumerville. And I want to say this about Jacob Flint, the new strength and conditioning coach. Did you see the transformation that Marcus Dumerville has gone through from the last game that they played against Kansas State till right now? He looks, he's not completely different, but brother, he may have put on 15 to 20 pounds of lean muscle. At least it's what it looks like. Shout out to Jacob Flint. Because if you start getting your offensive linemen to start buying in and looking like that, then what? Now our good friend Mike Jones, who came on this show and talked about Brian Kelly forcing them somewhat to take their vitamins, to take their protein, to eat healthier because it gives them accountability points. When you're bought in and everybody's doing the right thing, you start having success. Let me say this, because we talked about some guys that have done good. I thought the receivers looked good. I thought Malik Neighbors looked good. Running backs looking good. I thought the defensive line was okay at times. Linebackers played well. Guys, I'm gonna tell you this. Outside of Greg Brooks at corner, we have a problem. Houston, we might have a problem. Now, Jared Bernard Converse, the corner from Oklahoma State's not out there. Seven Banks might be a guy that you go and get from the transfer portal. I don't. We have a depth issue at corner at the current moment. Now, let me say this. Before we panic and we freak out, we still have guys coming in here. LaTerrence Welsh, the four-star corner from the Acadiana area, he's coming in. You have Jordan Allen from LCA that's coming in, and the kid's name from Texas that signed, the real speedster, his name's slipping my mind right now. He's also coming in. So where you're lacking depth at currently on the boundary corner, you do have some guys that are coming in that maybe can give you some depth. They don't have a lot of experience, but they provide you some depth. LSU got the DBs kind of got burned up a little bit. Now, to say this, though, there are two guys in that DB room that aren't really getting burnt up, and that's Joe Fouché and Greg Brooks. Now, a lot of times what people do is they pump up guys that are new, transfer portal guys. There's no other way to say this, at least in my opinion, that the best or the player that has had the most impact this spring defensively has been Greg Brooks. Now, you saw Mason Smith be disruptive at times this past Saturday. You love to see it. Busting through the line, getting to Amari Goodwin, putting pressure on Miles Brennan. I would have accounted him to have 2, maybe 3 sacks on Miles, 1 on Jaden. He looked good. But when at the times where LSU did not get a pass rush by all quarterbacks combined, Garrett Nussmeier, Jaden Daniels, and Miles Brennan, they got picked apart. Pick you like I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to try to do a remix up in this piece. But we'll see. We'll see. Here comes Gregory again, Trust the coaches to make the best decisions and move on. Well, Greg, with all due respect, my man, well, then what are you, if you don't want to hear my opinion, then what are you doing in here? Which, I'm not going to say it. I'll get labeled something. But, guys can come after me, but I can't say anything to them. So let me just not say it at all. I guess you can call me Kyrie Irving. Let's get to these comments, though. Ann Marshall says, come on down, 7 Banks. Look, I agree with that. Chad Selfo says, Rafino. And look, let me just say this. Let me not say anything. So to the people on the audio podcast, this is going to really stink for you. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Edward O says, what about Welsh from Acadiana? Yeah, he'll be coming in. Chad Selfo, who's daddy. I'm not daddy, his uncle. Frank Selfo's the head coach at Southeastern, but he chimes in and says, Rafino, you will see the real transformation this summer in the weight room. Yeah, I mean, looking at Marcus Dumerville at the end, or when Jacob Flint came in, to what he looks like right now. So when we talk about why does Marcus Dumerville look good this past Saturday, well, hell, he looks like Bane from The Dark Knight Rises with all those traps. I'm not talking about the traps in the, on them streets. I'm talking about the traps right here. My man, look, bro. Okay. Dorian says, surprised that they don't move Jay Ward at corner. I'll ask Carter the Power about that. I know that we talked about that ad nauseum. I don't want to stay on that long. I mean, there's a reason why they're not, there's a reason why they're not. Skipper says, I agree. QB1 won't be announced till right before the FSU game. I still think one of these guys are going to transfer, bro. You can't convince me that one of those guys aren't going to transfer. All right. Carter the Power Bryant is up next with the first pick in the AYS guest pick'em. Blake Rafino and AYS LLC selects Carter the Power Bryant to join us. All right, let's pay some bills. We will talk LSU baseball in that sweep. I will go on Rafino's rants, but we got to get to Carter the Power Bryant first. Let's pay these bills for our good friends over at GM Varno & Sons, our good friends over at Gramco. With over 65 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Varno & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. If you break down on the side of the road in the greater Baton Rouge area, they will come and get you. And the best thing about that is that they can come and get you, and then they can bring your vehicle back to their shop and start the repairs right then. Again, GM Varno & Sons. Go see them over at 2500 Fuller Boulevard. Give them a call at 225-664-9992, 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend Blake Rafino sent you on by. Guys, I've got to talk to you about our good friends over at Gramco. They are the Delta 8 company based out of the state of Florida. They're founded by college football junkies just like you and I am not sure if you're familiar with Delta 8, but you need to be. Gramco is the absolute leader in this field, and they have phenomenal products that I just need to tell you about. First off is the Wake and Bake coffee that is absolutely spectacular. The gummies are as well, as they're the best in the market. So go to thegramco.com right now and use the promo code AYS25. That's thegramco.com, AYS25 promo code to get 25% off of your order. Jump on this fast as it is perfect for holidays, anniversaries, and everyday use. Gramco is hemp-derived and completely legal inside of the state of Louisiana. No medical card is needed, and shipping is very discreet. You must be 21 years older to order. Again, that's thegramco.com. Use that promo code AYS25. The man, the myth, the legend himself. Well, hold on, Carter. The first pick in the AYS draft.
Let's hear it.
No selects. Carter the Power Bryant. Now listen, Carter, I got to officially meet you this week.
That's a good time.
Break down the form of the stature of Mr. Rafino. I'm just joking. Well, did I use good form? Did I use good form on the sledge this week, Carter, when you saw me?
Yeah, I mean, goodness, when you took the Totino's pizza out of the oven, I was like,
wide
wow.
base, baby. Wide base. That's all I got to say. My good buddy Carter is joining us. My good friend. Carter, I'm not sure how much you got to catch, but really, I mean, look, you did a film breakdown of it too. I just, right before the show, I've been piecing together your film breakdown, the long play by Miles Brennan. My whole thing is I'm just not freaking out over one post play to Jeray Jenkins on Jordan Tolles, but the reactions are the best. Matt House freaking out on the sideline. Here was the biggest thing. Now, me and you talked about this last Monday, and now we got it on film. Matt House seeing the personnel coming in and taking the shot on Jordan Tolles. That's really kind of all I need to see, right? Like, is that the bigger thing that you take away from that? Is Mike Denbrock using the players to the best of their ability?
Yeah, and that's why, Nick Storrs is a big piece for what LSU potentially wants to do, right? So the real key to that play was the personnel groupings, right? So if you want to see the breakdown, it's on the channel, whatever. But Cliff Notes version, they were in 12 personnel. So they had 2 tight ends on the field, but it was Nick Storrs and Jack Mashburn. They took those 2 tight ends off, put in a different tight end, but then went 11 personnel and subbed out all the receivers. Now, if you do that in an actual game, that is a little bit tougher because there is a lot of chaos.
Right.
But it is something you can potentially do. And if you go back and look at Cincinnati, they did have a deep wide receiver room, and they did have good receiving tight ends. So Mike is a guy that does like to switch out personnel groupings just by watching Cincinnati. So that was, to me, the craziest thing about the play. And once again, it is easier to do that in practice. It is definitely easier to do that when a safety is playing corner. And I know someone just mentioned a minute ago, well, why don't we move Jay Ward from corner to safety? And I get it. It's just a little bit harder because they're trying to figure out if Jay Ward actually is a safety. And they know, trust me, they're smarter than any of us. They know that he has a cornerback background. So down the road, I'm sure it's something that they are potentially thinking about, but they want to see, because obviously, going from corner to safety to back to corner is a lot on a player. So, as far as that deep touchdown, I understand that I spent a lot of time on it, but the point of the breakdown wasn't the play itself. It was everything surrounding the play, making the tight end ineligible on the play, attacking a new personnel grouping on defense.
7 guys in to block on a blitz.
Yeah. Well, it was referee drop rate. Yeah. Right. But still, that allowed the deep passing play to commence, right? And that's, going to be the big difference, right? If Miles Brennan has time to throw the football, he is obviously an infinitely better quarterback, where Jayden Daniels, especially coming from where he was at Arizona State, where he was under constant chaos, is going to be a better option if there is consistent chaos. And that could be the case, knowing that LSU's offensive line has so many new bodies.
So, look, I mean, we don't get to share it, so a lot of people don't know what you're talking about. But look, Jayden Daniels with a tightrope throw to Malik Neighbors on the sidelines. Garrett Nussmeier doing some good stuff. 65-yard touchdown from Jayden Daniels to Kyron Lacey in the middle of the field after a pump fake to move to safety. Look, there's a lot that we could talk about. Quarterbacks, Carter, and we could spend all the live long day there. But look, I will say this about Jay Ward. It's a good friend of mine by the name of Brandon Taylor, who moved from corner to safety and then had a really tough transition at safety when he was playing in the back third. Then all of a sudden, as a senior, he was the captain of that 2011 secondary back there. I don't know if Jay Ward's going to be that guy, but we do know that his ball skills are really good.
Yeah.
But man, again, though, Carter, we see another DB getting burned in the middle of the field, and it happened multiple times with multiple quarterbacks. What do you take of all that?
Yeah, so this is, and I want everyone watching this right now to answer this question. All right. And I'm going to give an answer when I'm done in just a second. I want everyone, wherever they're watching, to answer this. What is the defense's number one job? Okay. I want
Keep
everyone.
everything in front of them.
Okay. That's your opinion. I want everyone to give their opinion.
Oh,
okay. So just wherever you are, what is the number one thing? So, Blake, a lot of people will say, well, we got to win the battle at the line of scrimmage.
Oh, well, right.
But here's the thing. That's wrong, right? It is very important. And it is very important to create turnovers. And it is very important to do all those things. But it's what you just said. The most important thing for a defense to do is stop explosive plays.
No
You're right,
doubt.
Blake. It is. And that's not us. That's simple analytics, right? Bill Connolly did a study on this. The teams that win the explosive play battle wins 86% of the time. Okay. That is a higher correlation than turnover battle. That is a higher correlation than a lot of different metrics. And the issue with LSU over the past couple of seasons is, number one, they haven't hit enough explosive plays. And there's objective, stuff you could point to. Max Johnson missing Trey Palmer wide open over the middle and that would have been a 65-yard touchdown. The game is totally different. Max Johnson missing Jere Jenkins on a broken route versus Alabama over the middle. And the inverse of that is also true. LSU gave up so many explosive plays. Now, let's go to the Texas A&M game, right? Where honestly, pass protection was a big issue, but LSU hit 3 explosive play touchdowns to win that game, even though they didn't play their absolute best. The explosive play battle is what wins you games. And what's really key is LSU has not been great in that aspect. Some of that is not finding a true blue free safety. Now, this is very important, okay? He doesn't have to be Eric Reed. He doesn't have to be Chad Jones. He doesn't have to be unbelievable. Just don't get beat deep. Just don't get beat deep, okay? So what I've done on my channel, Blake, is just ask for who is the next John Battle, right? Who can just be solid. So what's really key about that is if you do have a safety that is really good at playing center field and not getting beat deep, and trust me, it's not just one safety. You play a lot of cover 2 where there's 2 deep safeties, whatever. It's not just that simple. But the reason why that's so important is that it allows everyone else to do what they're going to do, right? The reason why Tyron was so great in 2011 is because Eric Reed and Brandon Taylor never got beat deep. It honestly is very simple. And Daryl Simon and everyone.
I mean, think about the Alabama play on the Eric Reed interception.
It's the most iconic defensive play potentially ever in the history of the sport that we love. And it's because Eric Reed on a trick play did not get beat deep. So I understand that there's so many different things that Matt House wants to figure out about this defense. But the one thing that each and every one of us fans have seen over the past couple of seasons is the explosive play battle being lost. And a lot of that has to do with simplified coverage. But honestly, the most important thing is not getting beat deep. And it's something that we just can't tolerate if we're going to watch LSU football moving forward, especially with a bunch of new defensive backs coming in.
I got in a huge argument one time about John Battle. Okay. A lot of people were saying that he's so bad, he's not that good, yada, yada, yada. So let me say this. The argument was he's constantly getting run over. But my argument was it doesn't matter if he's getting run over if he's tackling the guy. It doesn't matter if he gets truck sticked. If the guy goes down, who gives a shit? I mean, excuse my language, but
no, it's fine.
It really doesn't matter, right? Like it really just doesn't matter. But give me a John Battle 7 days a week. Now, do you want a Jamal Adams? Sure, you want Jamal Adams. But if I had 7 safeties that are John Battle-esque as a senior, you're okay. Okay,
right.
Like, you're fine. Carter, I gotta ask you this too. I've been beating the drum, boom, ba boom, ba boom. That I don't think that Brian Kelly is going. Now, I think they'll go 12 personnel. Don't get me twisted. What I'm about to say. I think that they're going to try to spread it out as quickly and as fast as they can. I think they want the ball snapped, they want the ball gone, and they want the next play in, and they're going to be more Cincinnati Brian Kelly than there are Notre Dame. Okay, that's my full belief. Here's why. Trey Bradford is now running RB1 after John Emery's out. Now, if you're trying to get a bruiser in there, you're trying to 3 yards in a cloud of dust, Corey Kiner would be your guy. The clues are all around us. Yeah. It's our job to find out what's really going on. I keep getting confirmation in my own head that that's what they're trying to do. With the move with Corey Kiner today, does that get you there maybe a little bit more? Or what do you think about this whole Corey Kiner going to Cincinnati?
Yeah, so Kiner was a Kev Falk guy. Everyone's mentioning that in the comments, and he gets to go to Cincinnati where he's from. Right. It's a win-win. He's going to be happier at home. There was not an open, room for him to move at the depth chart, especially now that Trey and Armani have had a really good week of practice. So you have to worry about those two guys, two more guys. Also, this is, I'm not the biggest believer in Josh Williams being a special running back, but he is someone that you can rely on. Right. He's
all reliable, bro.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to do anything when the football's in his hands. And honestly, his protection isn't that great. It's just in big moments, he's been the personal protector for LSU, right? Go back to the Florida game, the famous Cole Taylor shoot throw. He was out there. Texas A&M at the end of the game. He was out there. Now, his actual performance was, for debate, but he's someone you can rely on. Still, that's just another guy that's in that room. I do think this is a win-win. I do think Corey Kiner can be special. We saw the Central Michigan game. We saw the McNeese game. But his best games came in the second half versus beat down, defenses, right, if we're being honest. I like Corey a lot. He really did enjoy being at LSU. It's just Cincinnati. You can't beat that. And that was a school that he was heavily looking at to begin with anyway. So I totally get why he did what he did. Now, Blake, the next thing is going to be this, right, is understanding that the most important thing is the guys blocking instead of the person with the football in their hands. Now, I understand that, growing up, running back was such a big deal. We grew up with running backs, being the best. We grew up
really the staple of LSU, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I mean, Kev Falk got this whole thing going, right? But, just LSU fans in particular, obviously, goes all the way back to Billy Cannon. We've had more great running backs than quarterbacks per se, right?
Right.
But here's the thing, okay? Could John Emery be special? Absolutely. Could any of those guys be special? Absolutely. The likelihood, though, that there is a Fournette or Jeremy Hill in that room is hard. There's very few of those guys. And we were just kind of spoiled during the middle 2000 less years that those guys just went one after the other. And then, oh my goodness, this Darius Geis guy is unbelievable. And we just kind of got spoiled. There's just not as many special running backs out there. And that's why the run blocking is more important than whoever actually is carrying the football back there. So that's going to be very key, Blake, no matter which running back actually ends up winning, the RB1 job.
Now, Danny Girl sends us $9.99 via Super Chat, but I got one question before she starts yelling at us and telling us to talk about about the center position. Nick Storrs.
Yeah.
Have a day, young man.
Yeah.
Carter, I don't know if I remember a tight end at LSU moving guys like that. Now Thaddeus was good, but Thaddeus didn't move Ali Gay like that. He didn't move a Mason Smith like that. What does Nick Storrs do, for your opinion, after he Carter, I hate using the word dominated, but as my grandmother would say, good googly moogly, son, you just got beat. You just got beat by like a scalded hog. He was whipping some dudes out there. What does Nick Storrs bring this team offensively, in your opinion?
Yeah, so the first thing is he's really fresh, right? So he's like brand new. So that's something that he has going for him. I do think we tend to forget sometimes, Blake, that, Savion Jones and those guys, this is like the second or third week of camp. So you do get tired some. That did help, but it does. But Blake, you're right. It doesn't change that he was moving people in drills and in the actual 11 on 11. And once again, he's not George Kittle. This is not. You're not getting that type of player, but it does help out like the thinnest tight end room we've ever seen at LSU, right? And LSU's never been tight end U. The issue though is why Nick's doors are so important is it does make Brian Kelly and Mike Denbrock more comfortable because tight ends are a huge piece for what they do. So J. Bud Davis is a really good analytics guy. And I found this chart to be very interesting, Blake. Notre Dame was one of the most 12 personnel heavy teams in all of college football. That
Right.
makes sense. They have Michael Meyer and then the tactics guy.
They were in the top 10, weren't they? They were like number 8. Right.
Yeah, they were top 10 in running 12 personnel. So they ran a lot of tight end formations. Well, and Cincinnati did as well. Not as much, but they did do a lot of 2 tight ends, and they did have a really good tight end room at Cincinnati. Well, the inverse of that is actually true at LSU. Out of the SEC teams outside of Mississippi State, LSU ran 10 the most out of any team in the SEC, not named Mississippi State, which is a 4 wide receiver set team. Now, this is where it gets even more interesting, Blake, is Louisiana Tech was also a really heavy 10 personnel team, which is where Joe Sloan is from. So you have LSU returning a more 10 personnel team. Louisiana Tech, where Joe Sloan's from, he ran a lot of 4 wide 10 personnel when he was the offensive coordinator. And the opposite is true for Denbrock and Kelly, where they had a lot of 2 tight end sets. Now, offense is offense, but having an extra tight end does make BK and Denbrock more comfortable because that is something that they're used to.
That's interesting. I think that's something we're going to come back to in August.
Yeah.
Something very interesting about that, Mr. Bryant. I don't know what yet. Let me ponder on that. I'm going to watch what you just said probably 75 times tonight. Like I'm going to go back and listen to that short little thing. It's interesting to bring that up. But Danny Girl sends us $9.99 via super chat. She says, #Ask Carter. Why is Charles Turner not the best option at center? Bad snaps and more. Y'all knew I was going to say it. How do we know Garrett Dellinger can do it? He hasn't played that role, has he? So, Carter, I'll swing that one over to you first.
Yeah, so first thing, I found this interesting, Blake. You as a former offensive lineman. So it's about to get really nerdy in here, all right? So
I'm a nerd.
Okay, so this is okay. Fitzgerald West does the dead ball snap. You know what I'm saying? Like you had instead of your hand being like on the side, your hand is on top of the football.
What we call a pointer.
Yes, it is so interesting. Right. I love that. But yeah, obviously I don't think anyone wants a true freshman center. Like that's just
no.
I mean, that's gonna be tough.
Unless it's Ben Wilkerson Jr. No.
No,
I don't.
Yeah. So the funny thing about it is, like LSU's had a bunch of really, really good centers. Now, since Wilkerson, I don't think they've had an All-American, but they've had a long list of like.
Was Cushenberry? What didn't Cushenberry? But he wasn't All-American though. Right.
Yeah, but they had like Launer again. I thought Brett Helms was very underrated, and then obviously Elliott Porter and those guys. You don't have to be spectacular there. You just got to be consistent, right? Just have some centers. Now, what's very interesting about that is I do want to shout out Danny. She is someone that supports not only Blake's channel, but my channel. So we really appreciate you, Danny, even though she gets on me all the time, Blake, because I do drink fruity beers. I do. I know we had this conversation. God. We had this conversation man to man. Okay.
We did.
I love a beat of strawberry. I'm down. Michelob lime, the prickly cactus. It's great, man. And then those Bud Light cherry colas are fire too. I love
it. That a beat of beer who makes the beat of strawberry like you like, they just made an adult sweet tea. I don't know if you're a fan of sweet tea. Now, I'm not going to confirm or deny. I can't drink that much sweet tea. I just can't do it. But crack me open one of them to get me rolling on a hot summer's day on when Daddy just got done cutting the grass. I do declare I will be eating, drinking, and a beat of adult tea. I will be saying that. Go ahead.
But to answer Danny's question, yeah, center's going to be an issue, right? Like I I don't think anybody is on fire about Charles Turner. But I will say this, all right? Brian Kelly did put him in front of the media. So what does that tell you? Well, it tells you that LSU's trying to see how he handles himself. Part of being a center is how you handle yourself. You're the quarterback of that unit, right? And, sometimes center is more than what you do on the field. It's what you do off of it. You're the center, right? You are the only person on that offensive side of the ball that touches the football every time. You're a leader, right? And maybe there are some of those qualities in Charles Turner that we don't see.
I will say this about Charles Turner. He has a very high football IQ. Does he do silly stuff? Yes. But talking to people in that building, he knows what to do. He can tell you what all 11 guys are supposed to do. It's translating it onto the field.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but I don't think he wins it.
I don't either.
I'm still banging the drum that Garrett Dellinger is the best center on this team. And I think that he'll remain the best center on this team, but we'll see.
But you do you feel comfortable saying that without actually ever seeing him do that?
Who says I hadn't seen him?
So Blake, I'm going to trust you on this. I hope you're right. Look,
well, the only thing that worries me, it's not the skill set. It's what you just talked about. It's can he get the protection calls down?
Yeah,
you can teach a man to snap a ball in between his legs. You can teach a man to snap a ball and then fire off the ball. It's really not that difficult because you don't play in today's society a true zero-nose 24/7. And if you do, 9 times out of 10, you're getting massive help in the interior, okay? The difference is when you got a guy that you can't see out of your periphery, that he's walking up and you can't see, can you learn and know what they're showing you in different parts to make that call? Carter, I'll tell you one thing the Mississippi State did to me so many years ago. Shout out to the free agent known as Fletcher Cox. But nevertheless, they would do specific things that they would show you one thing, but you would always know that they're going opposite. This guy would walk up. All right, thank you, confirmed. Lucy. We're moving left. But that's film study. I don't know how they're going to do it. I think that they can prepare him with the mental reps to be able to do that. Again, but I don't think we're in a good position there no matter what. If you're worrying about a tackle moving to center, I still think he's got the skill set to do it.
Yeah, and I also think, and I know this isn't, and this is kind of a cop-out here, I do think a lot of SEC teams, once again, this is just very Cliff Notes version. I can't go too deep into this. But I do feel a lot of teams in the SEC are kind of worried about their centers as well.
Every single one of them.
Like the only, and this is painful, but I feel like the only, I mean, I'm sure there's more than one, but the New Orleans kid for Georgia, Cedric Van Pran, is obviously, he's really freaking good. But everybody's kind of struggling to do it because, most elite high school recruits aren't centers.
No, right? They're guards. Carter, name a last time that you, outside of Fitzgerald West, that you're really talking about centers.
Yeah,
these
like
guys play guard tackle.
Yeah, like this guy we're recruiting is going to play center. It is relatively rare. So I think a lot of teams are struggling with this, but we'll see. Hopefully Charles Turner, obviously he can get bullied and the snaps have been a little inaccurate, but hopefully that gets better with time. Hopefully.
Jacob Flint's got to have a big off season with him. You can't be 272 pounds and play center in the SEC. Yeah. Carter, you've been fantastic. I'm not going to keep you the allotted 47 minutes and 12 seconds like last week. But nevertheless, you have been fantastic, my friend.
Thank you. I will say that you tried to give me a T-shirt from one of your sponsors, brought it out, and I was like, what? I can't wear 4X. I can't wear a 4X shirt. But now I'm regretting it because it was some of that soft material, man. I kind of want that shirt.
So on the 4X shirt, so this is a 2X, okay? On that 4X shirt, you do know that my wife's large shirts are bigger. I'm not going to say the sponsor, but that shirt's little, Carter. I'm a big old boy.
I should have taken it then. That was my fault.
As Kevin Gates would say, B word, I'm a big gangster. You know, like I got a lot of girth up in this upper torso here, you know.
Can I, but I'm not going to say the reason why you didn't want the shirt. I'm
Please
not.
don't.
Because I've been thinking about that nonstop. I was like, I can't believe that's why you wouldn't want to wear it. We might reveal.
I was a little bit joking with you, but nevertheless,
every little bit of joke has just a little bit of truth in it. Well, here's what we'll do. We'll potentially reveal it the next time I'm on here. The real reason why Blake did not want that shirt. But I want to say,
I'm never revealing that. I'm never in public. I'm never revealing that. I'm just letting you know.
I will say thank you for the showing me your humble abode. It's quite beautiful.
Oh,
I did not like that the next day you had crawfish. I found that to be very insulting because here's the thing. I want everyone to know this. Blake had me a nice cheese Totino's pizza. It was good. It was good. But having crawfish the next day when I go out of town, Blake, I'm taking your photo off my refrigerator.
So let me just defend myself very quickly. Sometimes in life, my good friend, you don't make the decisions in your household. And there are also reasons why we were eating crawfish that wasn't all my doing. So we will be announcing, Carter, this we have a big announcement breaking. So we'll have some news within the next week.
Okay.
That everybody will understand why the Rafinos had crawfish.
Oh, is it a boy or girl?
I don't know. I don't know.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to be honest. I have no idea. Honestly, I have no idea.
I don't know yet. I don't know if that's even the news. But my source game is like Woj. I never miss. Jordan fades back, swish, and that's the game. All right, Carter. I love you, brother. We'll talk soon.
Peace out, guys. Good to have you. Good to see you, Blake.
Thanks, Carter. Thanks for coming on as always. That's your good friend, my good friend, probably the best in the business, in my opinion, at this game. But nevertheless, always the best. We're at the hour mark. Let me just say this. Got to give a good shout out to our good friend Richie Roche over at Roche's Lawn and Landscape, 225-937-7220. It's 225-937-7220. Let them know that your good friend Blake Rafino at AYS sent you on by, and our good friend John Patton over at GMFS Mortgage. Buying a new home, saving money on the mortgage you have now, even doing that cash out refi. The timing has never been better. 225-614-1234. That's 225-614-1234. Tell them Blake sent you on by. We didn't get a lot of time to spend on the baseball stuff. And LSU getting swept. Here's where I'll end and do my Rafino's rants very quickly. I am absolutely tired of the absolute Rudy poo. And I mean Rudy poo calls that are happening in college baseball and really even in Major League Baseball. If you missed it, runners were on first and second. I think it was the fourth or fifth inning. LSU's down by 1 against Arkansas. And Braden Joubert called out because he didn't get in the box fast enough. Now, LSU has their own issues. Defensively, they have their own issues. They can't buy it out at times. Jordan Thompson has completely digressed at shortstop. K. Doty is so worried about the ball being hit in his general direction that he's going down to a knee to field the ball. Guys are just there. It's like, and if anybody here has played sports, you know, especially baseball, you just don't want the ball to come to your way. That's the entire infield. Jacob Berry, I got to be honest. I can live with a little bit Jacob Berry defensively if you're going to hit 370 in the league. Right? Like I'm completely okay with that if you're hitting 370. What I'm not really okay with, though, is the constant errors. But I think Arkansas is a more talented team than you, if I'm being honest, especially defensively, especially when it comes to starting pitching and depth perspective. You don't have a Friday or Saturday night guy. You just don't. Blake Money, I love him to death. Right now, he's not a Saturday guy. He might be a Sunday guy. Mikael Hilliard should not be your Friday night guy. You got to go get studs. But for the love of God, for the absolute love of God, the SEC's got to change this. I understand that you want to make games shorter. I understand that you don't want games going in 3.5 hours. I understand it. But when a runner is on first and second, with 2 outs and a team is down by 1, you better give the man more than one warning before you call him out. Brain Jobert has, 10 home runs this season, I believe? And you're going to call that man? Give him a warning. Give him multiple warnings. Hell, I don't know what you got to do. Tell Jay Johnson. Tell the head coach that's on the third base line, and then you have a third base umpire coming down, calling him out, then complete momentum shifts. That's not the reason why LSU got swept this weekend. We all know why they got swept. There are horrible out in the field. That this team is not an Omaha team. You ripped me last week when I said that they're not an Omaha team when they swept Mississippi State. Everybody got on my ass about it. No pause. You were mad at me. This team is not an Omaha team. But the problems that I have are small stuff like this when you are on the road and maybe you lose 2 of 3 and don't get swept because of a momentum thing like that. It's Bush League. It's quite honestly, I feel like the guy has issues at home, the umpire at third base. And then you get mad at stuff like what Tony Vitello did, bumping the umpire when we got stupid, absolutely soft calls like the one against Braden Jobert. That's not softer than Sharman. I don't think that there's anything softer than what we saw, the thing that happened with Braden Jobert. Nothing. Softest, I don't know. Maybe softer than the cotton from a pill bottle because, I don't know. But God, my God, Greg Sankey should be fined. The umpire should be fined. You can't run shitty product out there like that and expect for there not to be a backlash. I'm okay with losing the series 2 out of 3. I don't think LSU should go, right now, I don't expect them to go in there and win the series in a first year with Jay Johnson at the helm. But my God, don't cheat Brain Jobert. You're cheating Jobert, LSU, Jay Johnson, and the seniors Mikael Hilliard. You're cheating the fans because of your stupid stopwatch saying 30 seconds. I'm sorry that the Cougar at the local Texas Roadhouse went home with another man outside of you, and you got to take that out on 18 to 20-year-olds. But my God, let's blame Hayden Travinsky. All right. That's my rant for the night. You like it, you love it, I really don't care. But there's no reason why Braden Jobert should be called out at home. Warn him multiple times. Warn the head coach. Hell, you do warnings when a pitcher throws a 99-mile-an-hour fastball at the head of a batter. But my God, let's make sure that the batter's in the batter's box quick enough next time. You warn both dugouts when Ohtani from the Angels throws a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Aroldis Chapman, you heard me, up in that bitch, and you're throwing at another man's head. But my God, get in the batter's box quick enough. Like, that's the line that we draw. Oh, my God, I can't believe that the young man's not getting in the batter's box quick enough. I digress. We'll see you tomorrow, though. We'll see you tomorrow. No, Zach. What am I going to do without a producer, y'all? It's horse manure. All right. I think the baseball games tomorrow, we don't go live during LSU baseball events. We might do a post game, but nevertheless, we'll go about 5 days. We'll go 5 days a week as we always do. And I'm looking forward to seeing all you guys again soon. Y'all have a good night. Peace out, Girl Scouts.